What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Tuesday, October 1st, 4:09 p.m. I think there's actually like a 20-second delay when I post this. I'll have to go back and watch it later. I'm not sure. In any case, it's 4:09 p.m. on Tuesday, October 1st. This is a drive home with Ryan. We are driving home. Just left the distribution center, the fulfillment center, which is in Gainesville, Georgia. There was a semi truck. I just posted this on Twitter X just a little bit ago. There was a semi truck that was sent up by the sheriff's department down in Burke County, Georgia, to pick up 6 pallets of MAGA water. I don't have a bottle with me, but you can get your own at drinkmaga.com. So we gave them 6 pallets. It was really awesome. So I called them like early this morning. You know, the receptionist lady, she passed my number along, and it was like really fast. I got a call back from one of the colonels down there. I'm not gonna, dox him or anything, but Colonel called me up and quickly arranged for transportation. It was nice because they sent the semi truck up here, so they'll have that water tonight, probably about 3 hours. It's about a 3-hour drive. Well, 2.5, 3 hour in a semi. But it was nice that he sent that. One, because they'll get it faster, right? Like I said, they'll have it tonight. They'll be able to distribute that to the community this afternoon. It obviously saved us a ton on shipping costs too, which is, I'm grateful for that. Because all this stuff we're donating, I mean, we're obviously, we're not charging, we're not charging for a product, we're not charging for the shipping, any of that. So I probably made like 20 calls today. This morning, probably up until about lunchtime. Like, I started at 3 a.m., so I'm pretty worn down. Probably made about 20 calls, and I think we've got 2 pallets going to Roan Mountain in Tennessee, and then I posted earlier on X, we have, I think it was 3 pallets going to the Harvest Food Bank up in also in Tennessee. Forget what city it was. So we got that, and a couple smaller. So there's actually a church here in Gainesville. They've got a box truck. It's not, unfortunately, there's not enough room to take a whole pallet. So I'm gonna go home and get a little rest, because I'm like I said, I've been going since 3 a.m. I'm about to pass out. I'm gonna go home and take like a little nap, then I'm gonna take my Hummer back up to the distribution center and get as many cases as I can fit in my Hummer and take it over to the church. And there's another one too that was sent to me, a Methodist church. I forget the name. I've got surprisingly a lot of messages here in the last few hours of just different places that we just need to reach out to and just coordinate with them. Ray sent me a list. I guess someone who follows us on X had messaged the Drink MAGA account with a whole list of people. It's probably like nine names on that list that are coordinating, receiving and distribution of water and supplies. So I'll be working on that tonight and in the morning. So that was probably the most of my day, honestly. Aside from that, we did have our first post-acquisition conference call with the now Epic Labor team in Nashville and Knoxville. It's actually a really great call. I know these guys, okay? So it wasn't like I had to introduce myself or anything. Had a really good call with everyone. The corporate staff was there. Again, I know them all, so it's not like I don't know who they are or what they do, right? But everybody's on the same page, and we had some transition conversation to ensure that it's a smooth transition to move over to Epic Labor. They're talking to all the clients. We got a big email list going out later in the week to the clients, just letting you know this is what's happened, and there's a lot of coordination involved with that. And then so the Knoxville branch, apparently, I talked about this yesterday, Sierraville, I can never pronounce the place, Sierraville, Sevierville. They're apparently like not letting anyone but emergency vehicles in. I did not know that it was that. I mean, I knew it was bad there, but I didn't know it was like one road in, and it was only emergency vehicles allowed or something, right? But I think they're gonna have that open. I talked to some clients, some of the Epic Labor client. Well, they're not clients right now. They're people that I know use labor, and they'll probably use Epic Labor now that I'm involved there. I think that they're gonna open it up this weekend, and you're gonna have all these restoration companies kind of rush into that area to start doing bids. A lot of this is gonna be large loss, cat type stuff, cat catastrophe. A lot of it's gonna be large loss stuff. So they'll have their cat teams in there. And there's probably a lot of residential also. Residential is actually harder to staff because you're talking, usually a couple of laborers at 20 different locations. And that's a lot of coordination involved. And obviously we want to help out where we can. Now that's, that we don't give away labor, okay? But there's a lot of coordination involved with that. And we have to make sure that we do a pretty large amount of recruiting now in advance of anticipated orders that we may or may not get. I think we will, because there's going to be so much work that has to be done there. Again, none of this stuff happens until the emergency, has subsided. People have water, people have power. Nobody cares about, reconstruction when they don't have food to eat or water to drink. So, from what I've been told, at least from the call this morning, Sevierville will be opening up this weekend to allow non-emergency vehicles in there. And my thinking is that we'll probably have some orders for there going into next week. So, in preparation of that, we had a nice little game plan put together, a little hit list, things that we need to do in advance. We're always, you're always running ads in the labor business for labor, right? Because you always need help, right? I mean, it's, very few, just the nature of the business. You have very few people that are working today that are still going to be here in 5 months, right? It's temporary by nature. But when you have a situation like this, where it's a catastrophe type situation, a lot of the people that would normally be looking for work are taken out of that equation because their lives have been upended, and they're concerned about finding loved ones and their home, things like that. So some of the available workforce is not present, and so if you're a staffing provider, you really have to think outside the box and really think like 5 steps ahead, or you'll wake up with clients that need labor to come in and actually help restore some normalcy. I'm making up words today. To the area. So the manager put together a pretty good hit list, and the necessary PPE. PPE is personal protective equipment, if you don't know. In advance, we went ahead and ordered just a ton of PPE, hard hats, gloves, safety glasses, safety vests, that kind of thing that I know we're gonna need. From what I'm seeing and hearing, there's so much damage there. This is not something that's going to be like a 1 week, 1 month thing. There'll be an initial demo phase where you go in and you demo out all the stuff that's been flooded and water damaged, and then you put it all back. I talked about this yesterday. That's the putback work. But a lot of times it's a complete demolition situation, and you just have to start all over with, and those are usually on the commercial end. They don't demo the whole thing, but the internals, the way commercial, like retail, like malls, things like that, the way they're built, I mean, they're designed to be, you can rip the walls down and put new walls up. They're not load bearing. They're made to be easily modified, because different stores move in, they have different requirements for the sizes and shapes they need. So when you have flood type situations, what happens is you come in, you take all the drywall out. In most of those, they have metal stud framing, and depending on how bad it is, you maybe have to take that out. And there's a whole recycling component to that. Depending on how. I did a job at the mall up in Nashville like a decade ago, and they gutted the entire thing but the most of the manpower needed on that project was actually cutting and taking all of the metal framing out of the mall and sorting it so that it could be recycled. So there's a lot of moving parts of that type of operation, and that's why these restoration companies, I mean, they're not cheap, specifically on commercial properties. It's very intricate what they do, and there's a crisis management, and a continuity plan involved, things like that. But anyways, enough of the inside baseball. My team's working on ensuring that we've got enough PPE. If we end up with some big orders going into next week, hopefully we will. And of course, ensuring that we have enough labor. So we juiced up our ads. We're basically going to put out all the stops to recruit for that. The nice thing about that particular situation, and I've done a lot of these, restoration type situations. The nice thing about this one is we actually have a branch that's there. So like, we're looking at Augusta, Georgia. I don't have an office in Augusta, Georgia. But if, ABC Restoration called tomorrow and said, hey, we've got a project down here. We need 30 people to be here Friday morning to do demo. Do you think I'll have 30 people Friday morning? You bet your ass I will. I don't have an office there, but we'll have 30 people. Of course, someone will have to be there. And at this stage, because we're basically startup right now, okay, it would be me, plus one or two people that would come in and help me, organize, or I'd help them organize, whichever. But that's I think we'll be talking about. I'll be talking about Augusta again here in probably 10 days or so. I'm hearing October 5th to 7th, somewhere around there. They're expecting power back. There's many places down there they still don't have power, and I don't really expect a whole lot to happen, construction-wise, cleanup-wise, restoration-wise, until basic necessities are back in place, basic services. So, we'll see what happens there. It's when you look at doing this type of work, there's always a push-pull. So on the push side, there's a lot of revenue potential. I can put a lot of people to work. If I sell widgets, I can sell a lot of widgets because all these other widgets got destroyed. I can sell new widgets. And so there's that side of it. Hey, I have a business, I want to make money. And then the other side is the humanitarian side of it. Well, you want to help out the communities, right? And I've always struggled with the, reconciling that, I guess, in my head, right? I'm actually checking on the job site right here. Don't tell anybody. You can't always reconcile that, and it's tough. But at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, you might have some volunteers come in the emergency phase to give water and things like that. But when it comes to, rebuilding something, construction work, demo, those aren't volunteers. They're never volunteers. There's too much risk to have volunteers doing that kind of work. So, FEMA gets paid, ServPro gets paid, all your major restoration companies get paid. There's a huge ass construction site right here. I have to do something about this. We don't have an office. I'm in Gainesville. We do not have an office here. And we don't actually have one slated to be here till like next year. But this, I think, is going to be a Publix. And they need some laborers to do cleanup. We might have to there's a lot of construction work going on around Atlanta right now. We don't just do construction. That's just a small part of it. Construction's nice though, because it's easy to fill. It's usually, unskilled or semi-skilled work. It's general labor, blue collar work. It's easier to fill because there aren't certain skill requirements. Like if you do carpentry, I mean, obviously there's skill requirements. There's less carpenters than there are laborers. So, I always like labor. A lot of these big companies, they don't like to mess with it because I don't know why. Maybe because it's not sexy enough. I don't know. You put people to work, they're making money, you're making money, you're, contributing to GDP. What's so bad about that? Anyways, I know I'm rambling a little, and like I said, I've been up since 3 a.m. and I didn't go to bed till like 11 o'clock something. So, kind of dying right now. But yeah. So on the staffing end, that's pretty much all today. I spent the time with the team on that call. It lasted about 30 minutes. I had a number of conversations with Brandon throughout the day, stuff he's working on, some of the last minute stuff that we need to get pushed through on the funding end of things. Okay, so I'm giving you a lot of granular stuff here now. I think it's important until you get used to seeing me do this every few days to understand the point of this is to be granular. Okay, Some of them might seem like minutia, and maybe it is, but that's kind of the whole point. I'm giving you the inside window into what we're doing here. Whether you're a shareholder or not, that's fine. But if you're a co-owner, you get to see kind of what we're dealing with on a real-time basis, and that was kind of the whole point to this idea that I was going to do this. So I did spend some time down today at United Community Bank, which is the bank that we got set up with for Epic Labor. So I set this account up a month ago, knowing this was going to happen. It's about a month ago. So when you're when you're running a staffing company, you have a lot of transactions coming in and out. The end part is clients paying you. Now, I don't know the exact client count that Epic has. I'll know Friday when we do our first invoicing. But if I had to guess, it's probably 30. Okay. So you got to figure on any given week, you got 20 to 30 payments coming in. Now, some of those will be checks, some of them will be ACH, some of them will be credit cards. So that's the other thing. So bank account, then you got to get set up to take credit cards. Boom. So now you need credit cards. All right. To get merchant processing or merchant services, it's actually easier than it used to be, but there's a fair amount of KYC, know your customer, involved. Background checks, that kind of thing. So we got all that set up. It took probably a week. It was set up, I think it was actually accessible 2 Thursdays ago, I want to say it was. And so we got that set up through Clover, and I guess they have a partnership with United Community Bank. So that so that's good. So bank account, credit cards. Now you can accept credit cards. You don't really want to take credit cards because here's why: we pay 3.1% for every card that we charge. Okay, it's 3.1% invoice. Well, if we run a 30% margin, 3.1% on the invoice is roughly 4.5% or so of your payroll. So it impacts your margin greatly. And then to make matters worse, combined with the funding part. Okay, so bank account, credit cards. Now you need funding because you need cash flow every week. And unless you're just loaded on capital, you're going to be borrowing against your receivables every week. So you get that set up. Now, when you finance against your receivables, you're paying interest or points or some kind of discount fee. There's always some fee somewhere in there. Whatever they call it, it comes out to about 1.5% for the first 20 to 30 days, depending on who you use. And it's usually 1% every 10 days after that. So obviously, the longer it takes for the client to pay, the more you're paying in financing costs. Now, let's say ABC Construction spends $1,000. You finance the invoice. You're paying. Just say they pay in 30 days, and your cost was 2%. Okay, so you've taken 2% off your top line right away in discount fees for your financing, and then they decide to pay with a credit card. Now you're taking another 3% right off. So you've taken 5 points off your top line, which equates to roughly, it's too tired to be doing this kind of math, but 5% off the top basically is 7% off the bottom, plus or minus. All right, so yeah, that's bad. So on the processing, you just want to make sure that you don't fund a client, borrow against clients that are paying with a credit card if you can help it. But sometimes you need the cash flow, and you'll do it anyways. So we got all that set up, but today I was down at United Community Bank because the thing that we don't have set up yet is Treasury Services. What is Treasury Services? Well, if you don't have a fairly sizable business account, you probably don't even know what the hell that is. Treasury Management is the ability to send wires and ACHs from your account, either on an app or on a desk, PC, website. Okay, most banks have a key fob. I don't have mine in here, but it's a little thing. You press a button and it gives you a code that you put in to authenticate the transaction, so you can't get scammed or hacked, right? So I signed up to get Treasury Management Services, which you absolutely have to have running this type of business where you got a lot of transactions going in and out. Number one, you need to be able to charge ACHs for clients who want to pay by ACH. You set them up on an ACH draft where you just draft their account for the bill. Those are nice because you don't have to finance them and you don't have to pay credit card fees. It's substantially cheaper to ACH draft them than it is to run a credit card. But then you're also sending a lot of transactions. So we run payroll. Okay, look, every temporary employee, every one of them has a pay card. It's basically a Visa. It's like a prepaid Visa. So you go work, you made $300. End of the day, like, hey, I'm ready to get paid. Boom, $300 hit your pay card. Okay, that money has to be sent to a cash account that is attached to all these pay cards, and there's like hundreds of them, right? Because you're gonna have hundreds of employees, so there's a lot of management involved with that. But back to the point I'm getting at, with UCB, I need to be able to send an ACH or a wire, if it's an emergency, to the pay card account, and I need to be able to do it probably every couple of days. Again, unless you're just flush with cash, you're managing your cash flow as best you can. You're not going to have, you know, an entire week's payroll just sitting in the bank waiting for you to disperse it. So you send money in every couple of days, and you want to be able to do that without having to go down to the bank. Well, right now I have to go down to the bank to actually do these transactions, which is a real pain in the ass. So I had to go down to UCB because when I tried to log in this morning, treasury management wasn't active. I didn't even have access to I have access out to the Metavesco account, but I didn't have access to Epic Labor account. So I had to go down to UCB and manually send these. And I had to send it by wire, which cost me 15 or 20, whatever it is, instead of it being like 50 cents if it were an ACH. So anyways, I had a nice conversation with the manager. She was very apologetic. Her name is Vincy. I am going to dox her, not her last name, but her name is Vincy. Real nice lady. She was very apologetic. And, you know, I think she's working to try to get me sorted out. Unfortunately, it's not something that's handled at the local level. There's some higher up person that, you know, processes all that. So it will get done. It's just a pain in the ass right now. So we had our first official Epic Labor payroll run today, and I had to send $13,000 from the Epic Labor account to the pay card account, and that's going to basically be payroll from Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And so that'll kind of give you an idea how the start is. And that includes some internal payroll too, I think. But in any case, spent some time down there in between all these phone calls and trying to get water shipped out and all that fun stuff. And that's really it. Most of the day was spent making phone calls, trying to coordinate with people to get some water out. And okay, I saw on X, I keep still calling it Twitter, I saw on X a Goya Foods, Bob Goya, he announced that they were doing some kind of thing where they're distributing a bunch of products with the help of Laura Trump. Okay, so I follow him, I messaged him, he didn't respond yet, but he had an email in his bio. I emailed that person who was like his PR person, and she sent me an email back saying, hey, yes, I can help you. Because I was like, hey, I got all this water, I got like 10,000 bottles of water, I'm trying to get in touch with somebody Trump campaign, or anybody really, who can help me get this out. I don't care if they're Democrats or not. It's help me get this water out. These communities need it, and they need it. All right, so she emailed me back and said, yeah, I can help you get in touch with them. So now I haven't heard from her yet. I did try to call her. She sent me a text, and I'll call you back as soon as I can. I'm sure she's a very busy lady. But hopefully, it would be really cool to get partnered up with Donald Trump on distributing some MAGA water to these places. And I know he may not have the resources himself, but he certainly has the ability to make the connections to get whoever in touch with whoever. I mean, I've tagged FEMA and literally freaking everybody to try to get this water out, and it's taking a lot of work just to get someone on the phone. Some of it's because they have no phone. Okay, I'm not upset with those people at all, but there's agencies that, like, I can't get anyone to call me back or like respond to me. I'm tagging them. You know, why do you have a social media account if you don't respond when people are telling you, hey, I have 10,000 bottles of water, I want to send it to this place that has no water? And I tell you what, there are a number of places that have zero water, and here's why. They're on well water. Wells require power. So if you're on well water, and a lot of these rural communities are, specifically the ones up in the mountains, you got no power. So guess what? You got no water. You have no water. So, I'm aggravated that I can't get somebody on the phone that can just like, yeah, we can take this, drop ship it, something, you know? I mean, literally, I know there's communities, like specific ones where I've talked to people today, like, they have no water. There's one, they have no water, and I can get you the water, I can send you the water. And oh man, I heard the frustration in this lady's voice. There's no way to get the water to them. There's no way. I couldn't get it to them if I want to. There's no way to get the water to them. And that's frustrating. I did talk to a guy who was at the distribution center. He says he knows a guy who has a helicopter, so we're going to try to see if we can get something done there. Asheville, there's Highway 81, I think it's Highway 81, is the only road going into Asheville. I'm in Gainesville, Georgia, so to do that, I would have to like go to Charlotte and like come back around. I mean, you know, I don't want to sound like a propagandist, but where's FEMA at? You know what? You can drop ship bombs somewhere. You can't drop ship some water into Asheville, North Carolina. I feel like it shouldn't be that complicated. Anyway, especially when you got somebody like me that's willing to give you the water. I mean, you don't have to file a requisition. You don't have some government. I have the water. You can come get it. Anyways, it's very frustrating. It's taking a lot out of me dealing with that. You know, with people just not, part of it just people not being able to call me, or me not being able to call them. Like there are a number of them I tried calling, and she's like, the network cannot go through right now, or something like that. And I know they've got to be so frustrated and probably panicked and scared. I mean, I know there are, I think I even underestimated how much damage and how bad it really is. You know, today, just some of the people that I have talked to and the stuff I've seen that they've sent me, I mean, it is really bad out there in some of these communities, okay? I mean, they have no power, no water. At this point, very little food. And there's even some where stuff's starting to get violent. You know, when people can't eat, you can't feed your family, and you're cut off from the rest of the world. You know, your survival instincts start kicking in, and savagery starts, you know, showing up. So anyways, that's my rant for today on that. I'm gonna go home, get a little rest, and I'm gonna go pick up some water, drop it off at this church. Bitcoin wise, we mined some Bitcoin today. You know, it just does its thing, you know what I mean? Price of Bitcoin actually dropped because of some turmoil in the Middle East. Don't know if you saw, but Iran launched 182, I heard, 181 rockets into Israel. The market got spooked a little bit by that. But our miners are going, not all of them. I think we've got 51 up right now. Because when Bitcoin dropped down to like 50 something, we turned them off. It was just cost them more to mine than it was than what they're worth. So we have the ability to pause them when Bitcoin drops. So that's kind of nice. Boring Brew, not a lot going on with Boring Brew today, other than, you know, today is International Coffee Day. Go to boringbrew.com, pick yourself up some really great, amazing coffee. I think the Ray over there today spent more time working on the water situation than anything else. I know he has really been out there trying to, you know, just get in front of people and, you know, hey, you know, talk to us, you know. You play the Sims, like, look at me, right? It's kind of like that. Yeah, he's really on it today, and you know, just trying to connect up with people. And like I said, he's got a list of at least 7 or 8 people in my inbox for me to call. All right, well, that's it for today. If anything else pops up, I'll let you guys know. Again, I'll be doing this every couple of days, probably not every day, but you know, at least a couple of times a week, or just kind of recap what we're doing at Metabesco in a very stream of consciousness type manner, just like I did here today. Hopefully a little less rambling involved, and hopefully I won't be quite so tired on the next one. And I'll end with this. If you know anyone who can help receive and distribute a pallet of water, each pallet has 72 cases. Each case has 12 bottles. That's a lot of water on one pallet. If you know anyone, shoot me a DM or at me, you know, whatever. And I'll, you know, again, I do have a list to call, but I don't want to let up on that, because I mean, I've probably called over 30 people already, and 20 of them I can't even make contact with. So if you have people, let me know, and you know, I'll try to reach out to them and see if we can get some water shipped to them, to whatever that community is. All right, have a great evening, guys.